Welcome, writers, readers, and friends to the Authors Talking Bookish podcast. I'm Donna Norman Carbone, author of All That Is Sacred.
And I'm Hope Gibbs, author of Where the Grass Grows Blue.
We're two debut writers traditionally published by a small publishing house, bringing to you all the experiences that we as authors learn the hard way, so you don't have to.
We'll give you insights from the inception of a book idea to publication and beyond. And along the way, we'll share our love of books from the writer's perspective.
Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 58. Today we are interviewing a friend of ours, Joanna Monahan. All three of us debuted our first books together. So we're excited to have her on the show. I'm Donna Carbone, and I am joined by Hope Gibbs. Hello, Hope.
Hello, Donna. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. I love October, so I have no complaints.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
And
Beautiful.
the baby shower went great.
Baby shower was awesome. It was so much fun. I can't believe she's going to be here in a few months.
I'm so excited for you.
And
I'm excited for our guest coming up. And let's just bring her up. Before we get any further. Hello, how are you, Joanna?
Hello. Hi, guys. It's good to see you.
We are so happy to have you here. I was lucky enough to interview you a little over a year ago. You were an author take the wheel over at Bookish Road Trip, where I used to do those shows. And I just loved this book so much. I can't wait to talk about it because it is a Gen Xer's What If?
Absolutely. I never really grew out of the John Hughes phase, so now I write books about it.
Okay, what's your favorite movie? Yeah, what's your favorite John Hughes movie?
Oh gosh, it's got to be Pretty in Pink.
I love Ducky. I loved Ducky. I was so sad that he didn't seem to win.
You know, in the novelization of the movie, there is a different ending. There's your fun fact for the day.
Huh.
And it's for all us Ducky fans out there.
You know, Joanna, you have more Gen X fun facts than anybody that I know.
Thank you. It's apparently it's all that's in my head. I don't know why I'm in the pantry half the time, but let me tell you where you've seen that actor before, because I can tell you all his movies.
I love that. Well, before we get started, I would love to give everyone a little bit of your background. Joanna lives in North Carolina with her husband, children, and 2 distracting cats. I want to ask more about that. Before she began writing, she worked in a variety of jobs, including marketing, professional organizing, and setting up book fairs. She is a proud member of the WFWA, the North Carolina's Writers Network, and the Author Guild. Something Better is a coming of middle-aged tale of love, family, and the dangers of attending your high school reunion. It was published in June of 2023 by Blue Ink Press. So let's just start right in it. Please tell our audience a little synopsis about this book, because I loved it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, I loved writing it. And it is about a wife and mother in her 40s who is feeling a bit like on the sidelines of her own life. Her child is getting ready to go off to college. Her husband is involved in his work. The ailing parent that she's been caring for a number of years has passed away. And she sort of is at this crossroads between, what should she do next? And of course, at that moment is when the reunion invitation comes for her 25th high school reunion. And she reluctantly agrees to go with her best friend, Beth. And while they are there, the boy who broke Corinne's heart in high school shows up and makes it very clear that he would like a second chance. And from there, the rest of the book is dealing with the decisions she makes and kind of the fallout from that.
I absolutely loved the character of Beth and their friendship. I want to know more about that. Like, did you have a friend like that? What was your inspiration for that pairing? Because she's a pretty significant character in the book.
Yeah, I'm very lucky that I do have a friend like that. But what is interesting is that when I was writing the book, Beth was a much smaller part. Um, but I was working with a writing coach, and I'm going to shout out Charlotte Rains Dixon, who was amazing. She's also a WFWA member. But she pointed out to me that Beth was sort of my audience surrogate. She was a very useful way for me to kind of keep the audience and the readers from getting too frustrated with these decisions that Corinne was making. And she was the voice that I could use so that the reader could feel like they could yell at Corinne through Beth on the page. And it worked because she is the clear fan favorite. People people love Beth.
Yeah. And the thing, you and I've spoken about this before, and a lot of people have brought this to your attention, is that Corinne, your main character, is not always the most likable main character. She has a lot of flaws, which I liked because no one wants to read a protagonist that's not realistic. But talk to me about how you created her, because she does have some I think you said, I believe I didn't write her to be likable, but relatable. So talk about how you created her.
Absolutely. And I really started going back just a little bit. I'd originally thought that this book was going to be told in 4 points of view from 4 different high school reunions, and Corinne was only going to be one of them. And she was the one I started writing because she was closest to my age, and the 25th high school reunion was the closest to where I was in life. So I started there, and by the time I got kind of through her section, I realized I didn't want to leave her. But that did leave me with this, character that I was like, oh gosh, I don't know if people are going to like her. And it was around the time that like Wicked and like Maleficent, all these like villains were getting their origin stories. And so that was kind of an inspiration. It was this idea of every villain is the hero of their own story. So they truly don't have to be likable.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
long as you understand, if you can get in their head and see where they're coming from, you might not like their choices, but you can still root for them.
Yeah.
And identify with some of the difficult choices that
100%.
they're
Yeah,
faced with.
I
Yeah.
mean, whomst among us has always made the best, most useful choice for themselves.
Right.
Well, Donna
Um,
and I are not the only two that love this book. I pulled this off of Amazon, and I love this review. It's such a great, fun read that was perfect to fill in some summer downtime. I've been to my high school reunion, so there were so many references that were so relatable. The story felt authentic and resonated with me as the main character's decisions unfolded. I mean, how do you feel about that? That's a great, great, great review.
That is a great review. I don't read the reviews because I've been told not to. So that's new to me. That's lovely. I did have a friend who told me she had written a review and compared my book to a piece of chocolate cake. And I was like, that it was as delicious as chocolate cake. And I was like, I'll take that. But that's wonderful because I really did. I wanted people to root for her, even if they were kind of reading with their
yeah.
hands over their eyes while they did so. And I didn't want it to be necessarily a straight romance. I wanted it to feel a little more, nebulous, a little more about the relationship and its ups and downs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was. As a product of the 80s myself, I one of the many things that I loved about your book is all the references to the 80s. I
Mhm.
just felt like it was just a feel good read for me because, you mention a song and then that song's like in my head. And so I want to know from you how much of that was in your head and how much of it did you have to research to like remember or uncover things you didn't know back then?
I probably had all of those references at my fingertips.
Yeah.
And I actually, it's funny, I didn't realize until just recently that my cover is actually a reference to 16 Candles and Jake Ryan. I didn't even realize I'd done that.
I can see it. I pulled it back up. You can see it.
Yeah.
He's leaning against the truck.
Yes, the part where when Molly Ringwald comes out of
Yeah.
the church. I didn't even think of that. So there's some subconscious stuff in there too.
Did you design your cover?
I did not. Through my publisher, Blue Ink Press, we worked with a graphic artist and she was phenomenal.
I love the colors of it.
I do too.
I do too. I'm not a purple person, but I have so much purple now
Yeah.
because I have to match my book. So.
So as Donna mentioned, we were saying, what kind of experiences did you pull from your own life, like with the Gen X and all this? Have you ever had that what if moment in your life?
I mean, I think we all have those what if moments, but I wouldn't change anything. Maybe unlike Corinne, I would not change anything about where I am because then I wouldn't be here. So, it's hard not to think, gosh, what if I'd started writing earlier? But I don't think I was ready for it. When I'm truthful with myself, I started writing at a time when I was ready to do it. So I can't be too sad about that.
I love that.
So you have a new book coming up in 2026. Do you have a release date yet?
I did. Well, it is April. I know it's April
Okay.
2026, and we're still nailing down which day it will be. But yes, my next book is called Welcome to Blooms, and it is also women's fiction, but this is a much lighter family comedy. It is about estranged siblings, Daisy and Bud, who must learn to work together to save the family flower shop. So that
That is
is
very cool.
I like the names too, Daisy and Bud. I picked up on that. So
yes, that's
love that.
exactly the kind of book you're going to get. I
Love
am
it.
manifesting. I watched a lot of Hallmark, and I really wanted to go with a light, feel good, funny, humorous book that had a lot of heart.
Yeah.
You
So
are really good at humor.
Thank you. Humor is hard, I have found. And especially this book, I found the new one is that it is very hard to write humor that doesn't make people into caricatures. I had an alpha reader read an early version of Welcome to Blooms, and she came back and she was right on when she said, she was like, oh, they're hilarious, especially the terrible mother. And I thought, oh my gosh, I don't want her to be terrible. I want her to be lovely and just not see the chaos she is creating. So I had to really go back and make sure that the humor wasn't at anyone's expense. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I
That's
read
actually a good tip.
I read on your beautiful, you have a great website. And I know you did this with your first book, but for this book, you have a playlist for your upcoming book. Am I correct? And I know
Yeah.
you had one in your last one because we discussed all the songs. Talk about how music inspires you. What is it? Is it part of your writing routine? Is it just creativity, or is it just a little add-on for your readers?
It is. It's a little add-on, but I will tell you that actually when I first started, kind of dabbling in the idea of calling myself an author sort of publicly, when you write and but you don't tell anyone you're doing it. And then finally you decide to kind of tell people you're writing. I joined Instagram and I, put myself out there as part of, the author community. And I started joining writing challenges. And one of the first ones I ever joined was a WIP soundtrack, so work in progress soundtrack challenge, where every day you would post a little snippet of whatever you were working on and a song to go with it. And it was so helpful. That whole process that whole challenge, it was 2 weeks, and it was so helpful for me going through and revising to kind of hone in on the tone of a specific scene or section of the book that now I do it with each one.
Oh, that's neat. I like
love
that.
that.
So Instagram challenges, if you're looking for a way to,
Mhm.
workshop your writing.
That is a great tip.
Yeah,
Mm.
it was fun. It was fun. So yeah, and
I
I
kind
like
of remember
this
I
kind of
kind
fun.
of remember because we've been following each other for a while. I remember those posts and
Mhm.
thinking that was really cool.
It's really fun. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I will always, I will never pass up a chance to make a mixtape.
Very 80s of you. Very
Yeah.
80s
That's
of
right.
you.
That's right.
So what are you working on now? Are you
Uh,
working on
I
something or just your launch?
I am. Well, my book is with my editor now, so I have that
Mm,
kind of the illusion of downtime, right?
yeah.
Where you're like, well, I can't do anything on that. So I actually am working on. I had a project that I've kind of put aside for a little bit, and I think I might do another Bloom or another book in the Bloom series.
Love
Oh,
that.
cool.
So I think I've just started working on it, and it's actually repurposing something I did for NaNoWriMo a few
Mhm.
years ago, back when that was a thing. So
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
congratulations. This is so
thank you.
exciting. So, why don't we switch gears a little bit and let's talk about
Awesome.
author life? Let's put
Sure.
on that cap. And, we here at Bookish Road Trip, I mean, sorry, authors talking bookish, sorry, we always talk
Mm.
about all the things we've learned the hard way. So you don't have to. What are a few things that you learned with your first book versus now with your second book, whether it's your launch, whether it was just the writing of it, that the marketing, or getting it published? How was the road to publication the second time around different than the first?
Sure. Well, I will say the thing that I learned the first time around that has served me the best, and hopefully this would be useful to others kind of in the process too, is I was actually listening to a podcast. This was before my book came out. So it was, March 2023. And I was listening to Brady Godfrey and Allison Hammer,
Mhm.
who write together as Allie Brady, as well as
Mhm.
individually. And they were talking about, I think this was before their first book came out, and they were talking about publicity and deciding what to do. And they kept using the phrase for this book. And I thought that was such a useful tool to kind of sort through sort of the fire hose of information. You kind of get this, you get overwhelmed by the idea of everything you could do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then having to decide what you are going to do is really cumbersome and very overwhelming. So I have really adopted that outlook, is that everything I'm looking at, I think, can I do this for this book? Does this make sense for this book? And I think it's
Mhm.
a really nice way to kind of give yourself grace to learn and grow,
Mhm.
as well as permission to celebrate where you are. Everybody has different resources, everybody's at a different place. So, don't compare. I learned not to compare myself. I'm not
Mm.
going to do a 10-city book tour the first time around. I really focused for this book, my first book, on promoting it locally. And I had a big party at my favorite indie bookstore, shout out Page 158 Books in Lake Forest. And that was enough for this book. And so for the next book, now I'm asking myself that question again. Well, what makes sense for this book? And so I can kind of grow on that. So that was a big lesson for me, and probably one of the most useful things I learned to do.
Wow.
That's
That's
awesome.
great
I love
advice.
that.
Yeah, yeah. And then I would say the other thing that I have learned since then, and this was absolutely probably not a surprise to anyone else except me, because I hadn't thought about it, is that really after your first book comes out, you're never just really writing again. You are always balancing between writing and promoting or marketing or networking,
Yeah.
connecting. There's a business side to it
Mhm.
from there on, from there forward. And I didn't understand that. So I still am struggling a little bit with what's the balance, like how much should I be writing versus how much should I be doing all this other stuff, you know?
Yeah, that's
So
reality.
Yeah.
it is, it is.
We all feel that. Mm.
Yeah, I always say, I'm like, I didn't mean to start a small business, but here I am,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm,
Mhm.
I'm the employee and the product and all the things. So you have to make time.
Which is exactly why we started this podcast.
Absolutely. I know. I wish I could go back. You guys should be here. I should come back from the past, listen to all your shows, go back. Yeah, I'd be all set.
So how do you balance? I mean, because you have a life, you have now what is the equivalent of your own small business, your brand, but you're also a writer. Are you regimented and like, okay, these are the hours of the day that I'm going to write, or I'm a writer that I'm an opportunist. When I have the time, I write.
I well, you ask how I balance, and I say poorly. I try. I've tried to kind of put together a very general schedule that's kind of forgiving. I have a minimum word count right now because I am starting something new, and it's 500 words a day. If
Mm,
I can get 500 words a day, 5 or 6 times a week, I'm pretty happy,
mm,
And usually, once you sit down, you can write a little bit more than that, but depending on the day or the time and what else is going on. If I can get 500 words in, I'm good. I
mm,
set aside Fridays to do my posts for the next week because that takes a lot of brain power.
mhm,
Um, for me, I set aside a day a month to really focus on my newsletter. I try to kind of, in my past life, I was an organizer. And one of the big things that we used to talk about is trying to keep like with like so
mhm.
that you can focus and not
Yeah.
have to make so many decisions. So I try very hard to keep like with like as much as I can.
I think that is excellent advice.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna try that.
Let me know. Let me know. And yeah, I also think it's funny that I have managed to have two launches in the same years that both my children are graduating high school. So my
Oh,
daughter, yeah, my daughter graduated in June of 2023 when my first book came out. And my son will graduate in next uh, June. So I moved my book launch up so that it would be
Yeah.
in April and not the same week like it was
Yeah.
last time.
yeah.
So you can focus on him.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, just a little added chaos.
Yeah.
But good chaos.
Oh, great chaos, the best
Great
chaos, and a
chaos.
really
Right.
useful kind of a useful metaphor, really, like the fact that I can kind of, my child leaving school and leaving, home, I can kind of, work through that in the launch.
Yeah.
So Donna and I, we've talked so much on our podcast about the importance of community. And for us, it can be, your writing community. I know you're part of the WFWA and whatnot. Talk about your community, your writing peeps, if you will. Do you use beta readers? Do you have critique partners? Or do you just have a really good network of other friends who write?
You know, I have wonderful I have a wonderful community, and they're kind of from all over the place. WFWA has changed my life. I mentioned before that my writing coach was the one who actually, she was a member of WFWA, and she actually was the one that told me I was writing women's fiction. I didn't know that.
Mhm.
And so she said, well, maybe you should join. And I did. And this was in 2020 is when I joined, like a lot of us kind of found things. To join and communities to join. And it was huge because I don't have a writing background. My background is in hotel management,
Mm.
so I didn't know what I was doing. So it was wonderful to take the classes. And then I started meeting people there. And then I went on Instagram, and through those writing challenges, like I mentioned, that's where I found sort of my close group. There was probably like 6 or 8 of us who kind of found each other through these writing challenges and started messaging and commenting on all each other's posts. And that's kind of those are the people I turn to when I'm like, I have questions or I have problems or can I vent? And so that's really nice. And of course, my family and my friends are, always a text away.
Oh,
So that's nice too.
we love talking to you, Donna. We have time for just one more question. But again, you have been lovely to sit down with us, and you've given some great, solid advice. So, Donna, why don't you do one last question?
Okay. Your new book, any 1980s references?
Oh, that is a good question. Um, I do know I name check My Little Ponies once. Does that count? They're kind of now too, but not as much. It is a more
Yeah.
contemporary book and it takes place more in the now. It's more about the family now than it is about looking back in the past. Although she does have a few memories that are plaguing her. But yeah.
Okay, I have one more question. What's your favorite song on your playlist for your Blooms book?
Oh, it is a great song called Someone to You by, oh gosh, I think the Banners is who it's by. And it in my head, if we were doing a big opening, number on the big screen, that's the song that would be
Oh,
It's in the background.
I love that. We'll have to look it up and we'll put it on our Instagram.
We're going to manifest that,
Yeah.
Joanna.
But for those people who might be interested in your book, where can they buy Something Better? This must read, perfect for the summer, relatable, an impressive debut.
Yes, the best place you can go is to my website, which is joannamonahan.com. And there are links in there to buy my book, to follow me on social media, which is Joanna Monahan Author, on both Instagram and Facebook. But all the links to my book and all the places you can buy it are right there. And I'd love to see you all and have you, continue the conversation.
Oh, well, thank you so much. You have been
Thank you.
delightful. Donna, can you tell us about our next episode?
I sure can. We're going to talk about what to expect and how to prepare for a 10-minute pitch event.
Yeah. So I have done this. I know Donna has done this. Joanna, have you ever attended a pitch event?
No, I think I would freeze up. I think I would have stage fright.
Yeah,
I
we're
will
going
say
to talk
it was
about that.
it was daunting, but there are some tips and some things that you can be doing right now, even if you were on your first chapter, things that can help you in that pitch. So, that one's going to be a lot. So I'm excited
Yeah.
about that. As always, everyone, we are so thankful to have you guys, follow us on Instagram. You can find us on Apple, Amazon, YouTube. And again, everyone, thank you so much. And until next time.
Thank you so much, Joanna. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm Hope Gibbs.
And I'm Donna Norman Carbone. It's time for you to get to work.
We look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks with another tip from your author friends.